Welcome to another edition of the CHCH Newsmakers podcast. I'm your host, Rick Zamperin. If it is making news in Hamilton, Halton, and Niagara, across Canada, or around the world, you'll find it here on Newsmakers. Halloween is more than just trick-or-treating, candy, and costume parties. It's a time when fans of horror movies get excited. Frank Popp Jr. is an independent filmmaker with credits such as 37% Pure Evil, Mulch, and Bloody Bites, and he joins us today on Newsmakers. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Horror movies. We'll get into how you got into it, some of the projects that you've worked on as well. But where did this all start? Where did your love of filmmaking come from?
Well, it'd be being isolated out in the country, which is usually a scary way to present.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, just kidding. My father bought a beta VCR instead of a VHS back in the day.
He's one of those guys.
He was one of those guys. And he refused to buy VHS because he spent so much money on the beta.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, beta was obsolete. So one day he goes to the local video store and buys their entire beta catalog.
Yeah, this is Jumbo Video.
Jumbo Video,
Back in the
correct.
day,
Yes. So I grew up watching, as we only had 6 channels, I grew up watching all the bad B movies back in the day, the Roger Corman films, all of that.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with making movies on a cheap scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So your dad comes home with all these, how many videos are we talking about here?
The entire store.
So hundreds?
Hundreds of beta movies, but all the good ones were picked through.
Yeah.
So these are just the terrible ones.
Oh, these are the bad ones.
Yeah,
wow.
These are the bad ones. So, and then they had a camera because they bought a Sony beta VCR.
Okay.
It came with a camcorder. So now I have this basement full of beta movies.
Yeah.
And I have a camcorder.
Right.
And I have nothing else to do.
So put 2 and 2 together and you start filming
That's
things.
right.
What were some of the first things you started to film?
Oh, man. Well, they were just terrible movies with friends. And for starters, it was just doing stupid things with our bicycles.
Right.
And then we would do these fight movies. I met a friend in grade 9. His name was Chris Lucio. And we were using Kool-Aid for fake blood because we didn't know how to make fake blood.
You didn't think of the ketchup right away?
No. Kool-Aid was easier because it was sweet, too. So it tasted good if you just drank it.
That's good, too. Yeah. That's good, too. Why the horror genre? What has drawn you to that space?
Well, for me, I remember going trick-or-treating on Halloween and people jumping out and scaring me. And I just always felt a rush about that. So it's great to make someone laugh or to entertain people, but to scare somebody, that's a kind of a thrill that stays with you. It stayed with me when I got scared.
Right. It's a different kind of emotion, right?
Very, very.
Yeah.
It's a safe scare because it's not something horrible that's really happening to you. It's just a safe scare. You know, you get scared and then you get over it and then you kind of laugh that it was nothing. And it's a way of working through anxieties, in my opinion. A lot of the greatest horror movies made in history were made from directors who had fears that they had to work out somehow. Texas Chainsaw, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those were all created from someone who was afraid of something.
Yeah. What are the must-haves for a great horror flick? What needs to be in these movies?
I have my opinion.
Okay, well, give us your opinion.
The horror community has so many opinions that I'm always excited to talk about my opinion. If it's a one-on-one with someone else who loves horror, it's a different kind of conversation.
Yeah.
But then there's so many people that are like,
yeah, because there's different kind of horror movies, right? You have your suspenseful thrillers, you have your blood and guts kind of thing, and then you have some that are kind of in between, right?
It's probably the genre that has the most amount of
versatility, difference,
and subcategories.
Yeah.
I love the Evil Dead movies.
Okay.
Those are my favorite. That's the Evil Dead 2 was the first horror movie I ever saw.
Oh, wow, okay.
Prior to that, my mom only wanted me watching Disney movies.
That's quite the difference.
Yeah, so you're watching Bambi,
and then you're watching zombies eating other human beings.
There you go.
Yeah.
So then I went to a friend's house and we put this movie on and I sat there like, what is this? And it ended badly. So the end of the movie, things weren't resolved.
Right.
It ended on a nightmare, like now he's stuck in this area. And I was just like, it was the first time I'd seen a movie that didn't have everything resolved by the end with a happy ending.
Right.
And there's something, as ridiculous as this is to say, there's something that I really related to that movie with.
Sure.
That I'm like, this is really cool. It didn't end good, and I want to see what happens to this character.
Right.
But I don't get to.
So that really blew your mind in terms of the storytelling element of it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, prior to that, I'd seen some stuff on TV like Gremlins, and there was this Disney movie years ago called Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Yes.
Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah.
It was Angela Lansbury taking on Nazis.
Yes.
In a Disney movie.
Yeah.
You know,
with no blood and guts.
With magic, with magic, and it was crazy. No blood and guts, but yeah, still like what?
Yes. My first horror movie I remember seeing would have been Poltergeist, which was, a slow crescendo. You're trying to figure out what's happening in this alternate universe. You're suddenly scared to watch the TV when you get the snow globe on the television because you don't know if you're going to be, that child as well. It was a movie that freaked me out, and that's what a good horror film can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And what did you take away from that? Like, did you give you nightmares for
it? Did. Well, I don't know about nightmares, but it just every time I was around the TV, I would be cognizant of, because I was like 8 or 9 or 10, right? So you get to believe, like, could this happen for real? Truth be told, later on in my life, I watched The Ring, which there's something about horror movies and TVs, and I remember watching The Ring and being so freaked out about it that, honest to God, I asked my wife, because I would be getting up early in the morning, just like I do hosting CH Morning Live. And I said, dear, you have to wake up with me. I am so freaked out.
After watching The Ring?
Just come downstairs. Yeah, it's the silliest thing.
That's
come
awesome.
downstairs, make sure nothing's awry. And but that's the emotion that horror films can get out of people.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting that, like, so you said you were around 8 when you saw Poltergeist?
Somewhere around there, 8 to 10, yeah.
Now, at that age, now, here's the big question. Did you end up seeing it on TV, or did someone in your family rent it, and you were, like, hiding on the stairs watching it?
No, we rented it, and I remember watching it with the family.
Because it was PG, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of violence.
No.
Apart from, the ghosts and the spirits kind of coming into the realm, skeletons in the pool at one point. I mean,
or
it
wasn't... the guy picking his face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was about the goriest it got.
Yeah.
So I guess my parents thought it was fine for us to watch, and it just ruined me for the rest of my life. No, I'm kidding. It was a great movie and still is to this day. It holds those elements of, as I mentioned, the suspense, the what's going to happen, and some really frightening aspects to it. So yeah, 10 out of 10 in terms of horror movies.
And you're 8 years old. You were scared of the movie about TV, and look at you. You're on TV.
Yes. So I'm not going to jump out of the screen. There won't be any spirits.
That's right.
At least I can't promise that, but I'm sure there's not.
The Ring was good. The Ring was
excellent.
Yeah. I saw that in theaters, and I was in college at the time when I saw it, and I remember going back to where my girlfriend was staying, and we walk in, and I'd never noticed this horse statue. Okay. Because remember all the horses and that, and they had the horse statues, and we're both looking at the horse statue, and she couldn't get the doorknob open.
And you're thinking,
yeah, you're thinking about it. But what other movie do you go see in theater that stays with you like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a good love story that, you'll look back fondly of, and it might, impact the way you look at other movies. But the horror genre really, it like nothing else, really impacts you.
Big time. I mean, and look at all the conventions we have, horror conventions. You got Frightmare the Falls, you got the Toronto, I don't remember what it's called. Yeah. Rue Morgue. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of horror conventions. I don't see a whole lot of rom-com conventions.
No, very true. Let's talk about some of the projects you've worked on. I mentioned some off the top: Mulch, Bloody Bites, 37% Pure Evil. You won an award for one of them at Shock Stock in London, right?
Yeah. We I can't even remember, actually. It was so long ago.
2017, I think it was.
Yeah, well, 2017, 37% Pure Evil, and that got picked up by Bloody Bites is a show that plays on Screenbox, I believe. So that's in rotation, but I don't think we get it in Canada. It's only in America.
Yeah.
So.
What's it like working on something like this?
Well, those were very low budget. I wrote, directed them, and it was working with my friends. I love doing indie stuff. I love it because it's like everyone's getting together to make this happen. Everyone's got their hand in everything, and you can't make a movie on your own. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can, but
yeah, it would be a lot of work.
It's like working with your family. It's a lot of fun. It's fun, and doing the effects. It's like having a water gun fight as a kid, except that you got fake blood and cars involved and all these other things, and it's such an adrenaline rush. Yeah. It's such a rush when it works out. it's a bummer when it doesn't.
How often does it not work out? I mean, obviously, it's never going to be perfect.
Well, if you ever talk to anybody who is in mulch, they'll tell you with a lot of eye rolls,
right?
Because that was more like a demo. Okay. I did that years ago, and I figured I dropped out of college, and I'm like, well, we're going to make this movie, and then we're going to pitch it to some companies to try to do it the correct way. And it was something I did on weekends, in between working a day job.
Right.
And then, by the time it was finished, I had a family and a lot of things happened, and I had some stuff I had to take care of, so I put it on the back burner, and it just ended up on YouTube. But for a movie that we only spent about 40 grand on, we got car flips in it. We got a full car flip.
Wow.
We've spent there's like 90 gallons of fake blood in that movie. The effects are pretty amazing. But maybe one day, if I come into someone who is willing to put in some good chunk of money, I'd love to make that what I wanted it to be so many years ago.
Right.
That'd be a blast.
Someone will hear 40 grand and say, wow, that is a lot of money. I mean, where does that money come from? Is it just you soliciting sponsors? How does that work?
No, that was that was me working a lot, and then other people, friends, putting money in.
Right. Hence the total team effort.
Yeah, it was definitely a team effort, because it was a demo. It was going to be something that we're going to use, to pitch, and it never went that far, but it was still a blast to make, and I'm super proud of it. I mean, if you compare it to anything else, you're like, oh, this is so low budget, but if you're a filmmaker, to make something with such little money on a scale where you're literally driving 2 cars, rolling it over.
Right.
You can't even do a stunt like that for $40,000.
Right. Wow. Yeah. You're known as a blood guy.
Yeah, I'm the blood guy.
In a good sense.
Yes.
What's the secret to making a good bloody scene?
Oh man, how much time do you have?
We got all the time that you want.
It depends.
Are there some basics though that, whether or not, a particular scene is going to work based on, how the blood's going to spurt or flow or whatever it's got to do?
Yeah, it's every time it's different. It's so hard to say. There's so many different concoctions of blood, and different rigs that I've built to spray blood. I mean, some of them are kind of like your basic old fire extinguisher that's re-rigged for blood, hooked up through tubes. And it's all about positioning. So if your camera's here and you're showing a scene where something is cutting into someone's head, it's what you don't see is the tube on the other side of it spraying, or the other dozen tubes that are inside the head spraying in every different direction.
Yeah. It's kind of like a magic trick.
It's exactly like a magic trick, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. What's in the blood? How do you make this blood look so blood-like?
Oh, you want me to give away my secrets?
Maybe not you in particular, but what's the standard? Because it's not ketchup.
Right.
And it's not Kool-Aid.
It's not ketchup. It's not Kool-Aid. Not anymore.
Yeah.
The standard that's been used since probably for almost 100 years is like corn syrup, red food coloring.
Okay.
You mix that up, but it's very sticky. If I'm putting stuff through my gear, I try to use something different. There's a kind of paint they use for finger painting for children in kindergarten, and kids will put it in their mouth and they're not getting sick from it. So I'll use some of that a little bit. It all depends on what the scene takes. Sure. But if you want it to be dripping, Caro corn syrup, any kind of corn syrup, that works great because it drips nice and slowly. But anything spraying, you want a liquid. So if it's spraying, if it's coming out of someone's arm and it's spraying this way, I would use more like a water-based spray. Right. And then when it hits the actor, I would use a different kind that would stick on them.
Okay, interesting stuff. Future projects. I know you can't get into specifics of some of the things you're working on because of legal issues and stuff, but the future obviously looks bright.
Yes, there's some amazing projects I'm working on right now that I would, as a film nerd, as someone who loves this, I want to just talk about it and say all these exciting things and explain all the secrets and tell all the magic. But if I did that, I would never get a job again.
Right. We'll have to have you back on sometime.
Once it's out. I worked on, I did a couple days on Deathstalker. It was a remake of an old Roger Corman movie by Steve Kostanski.
Okay.
It just played in theaters. It's coming out streaming, I think, November, December. That was a lot of fun. he's a great filmmaker. He loves movies. It's wonderful working with someone who loves movies, because there's there's stop motion, there's so many practical effects. Wonderful to work on, wonderful to watch. That was great. Right now, I'm working on a movie. I have been working on a movie called The Slashtronaut.
The Slashtronaut.
The Slashtronaut.
Okay. Someone goes in outer space and they get slashed.
Close.
Okay.
I don't want to give away too much, but it's. I met these young filmmakers. They're the Vitrone brothers. They live in St. Catharines, and they're working on this movie it's a killer astronaut.
Okay.
But there's a sci-fi element why he's doing this.
Interesting.
And it basically is now he's coming back onto this Earth. So you could kind of take like a little bit of maybe Alien and a little bit of Friday the 13th.
Okay.
But that title is so fun.
Slashtronaut.
When you hear that title, you're like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
And what I love about working on this is they're the new generation making this movie. Okay? We're in a digital age. It's more visual effects than anything. But they're doing it the old school way.
Wow.
So they're keeping the love of the movies that I watched as a kid that I love, and they're doing that.
Yeah.
And they don't have to do it that way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
You mentioned like iconic horror movies have awesome names, like The Slashtronaut, Friday the 13th, right? Like Halloween, these iconic horror movie posters kind of are emblematic of that as well. If you have a great horror movie poster, like that can attract more eyeballs. Say, I got to see that.
100%. If you, I know I've been talking about Roger Corman a lot, but he passed away recently. He was brilliant. How he made movies. If you ever look up the original Death Stalker poster, okay, amazing. The movie looks nothing like the poster.
Right.
He would buy these beautiful pieces of art first, no title, just this art, and would say, now we have to make this movie.
Really?
So a lot of his movies are based off of just the art piece that he bought.
Wow.
Yeah, and none of them owned up to the art piece.
Are you serious? Wow.
But the poster is really important.
Yeah.
I think in the 90s, we kind of got lost in posters. It just became like 4 faces of the stars on the poster.
Yeah.
And like a hook or something, which that's kind of what we're in now. But the old posters of the day are
some
the
of
ones
them
I
are
like.
amazing, yes. Yeah. What are some of the ups and downs of being an independent filmmaker? Obviously, money's always going to be one of the factors, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing union stuff, you don't have to worry about that. Independent stuff, sometimes you're not getting paid.
Right.
But that's the difference between people who love making movies. I mean, obviously you got to get paid. You got to pay your bills. You got to pay your mortgage. But yeah, probably the biggest factor would be sleep.
Really?
No sleep.
Yeah, because you're working during the day, and
because you're prepping during the day. Sometimes you're shooting all night. I live in Niagara, so right now I'm working in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I mean, that traffic.
Oh yeah.
So I'm, my hour and a half drive is actually 2.5 hours.
Right.
And 13, 14-hour days.
Wow.
Now they're back and then back again. 3 hours later. So,
wow.
But if you love it.
Yeah. You're going to find a way to do it.
And it pays pretty good too. So
back to the type of movies that you like, and you mentioned Evil Dead 2. I think was the first one that you saw.
Love it. Yeah.
Was that a factor in determining the movies that you really wanted to watch from there on in?
I think so. I think so. Probably same like Poltergeist for you. Yeah. See, Evil Dead 2 was like a horror comedy. I hate calling it a horror comedy because it's not. It's got a lot of comedic elements.
Sure.
The proper
it was really
term.
ahead of its time.
It was. But I mean, the guys who made it, like Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, Rob Tappert, they were big Three Stooges fans. So a lot of what their comedy is just Three Stooges gags that's been redone the horror way.
Yeah.
So Three Stooges was like slapstick. Their style was more splat stick.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, my dream one day would be to make an Evil Dead film.
Yeah.
That's something I would love to do. Anyone who's ever asked me, well, what would you want to do? I'd say I'd love to write and direct an Evil Dead film one day, but we'll see.
You stole the question right out of my mouth. Yeah. If there's a film where you're like, this is the way it's going to go down, that would be it, eh?
I would do that. Yeah. Because it'd be a full circle thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Who would you get to star in it?
Oh man, I don't know.
And that's the thing with horror movies. Like, the most iconic Hollywood superstars are really not in, more often than not in these kind of movies.
They started, though.
Some of them, like Jamie Lee Curtis.
With Jamie Lee Curtis, Jennifer Aniston was in a Leprechaun movie.
That's true.
Matthew McConaughey was in a Texas Chainsaw movie.
That's right.
Almost every big actor. Brad Pitt was in a horror movie called Cutting Class.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know about Tom Cruise, actually.
if he was doing his own stunts, probably.
Right, yeah. That's probably why he doesn't do that much anymore. He didn't want to be sticky and covered in corn syrup.
But many successful horror movies, and even the franchises, they don't have that mega star. The star of the show is the killer, the evil, whatever it is, right?
Or the effects.
Because
a lot of times it's creative ways of how to kill people.
Yeah.
Look at the Final Destination movies.
Yeah.
Those are great. And they're all, whether you've seen a Final Destination movie or not, you're going to drive behind a logging truck?
No.
Exactly.
No. And once you see some of these movies, you're like, oh, I don't want to go on an airplane, or I don't want, it's so impactful in terms of how it affects your psychological state.
Yeah, definitely. And again, a lot of times it's working out. If there's something in the back of your head that you're kind of freaked out about, and then when you see it on a movie and you see other people react to it, it's kind of like, oh, I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. There's other people that are scared about this, and I think it's a way of working things out.
Yeah.
If you ever seen the original Texas Chainsaw, there's a show on Netflix right now about Ed Gein. Okay, called Monster.
Yeah.
And they cover him. He was a serial killer from way back when, but he's the basis for Psycho and Texas Chainsaw.
Wow.
And that series, they actually cover how the two filmmakers, Alfred Hitchcock and Tobe Hooper, were inspired by that. And so they're in the movie, and it covers them, Tobe Hooper, being in line at a store during Christmas and wanting to get out of there and being next to a rack of chainsaws. And the other thing for him is his family. He hated family get-togethers because they would tell him about this guy in Wisconsin who was Ed Gein.
Yeah.
And he was so scared about it that one day he wrote the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That is wild.
Yeah.
If you had a top 3 list, a top 5 list, a top 10 list, we don't have to list 10 movies, but what are the horror films that would be at the top of your list?
Depends. For scary?
Well, just ones that you enjoyed the most, maybe.
I'm old school, so I like the Evil Dead movies. I like the Texas Chainsaw 1 and 2. I love Part 2.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones. It's terrible because I love horror, but when I'm asked that question,
because there's so many options.
Yeah, and I love Italian horror like Demons and Cemetery Man, any Fulci film. There's so many, and there's a lot of scary ones. I saw one recently that was really good. It was, is it Bring Her Back?
Okay.
Bring Her Back. It's fairly new.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, it was a good one. I think it's streaming right now.
Nice.
But,
yeah, Exorcist would be on my list, somewhere in there, right? Top 10, top 5. That really spooked me out. I'd have to go Poltergeist just because of, the OG of scary movies that I watched. The Ring would have to be in there because I think that might have impacted me the most.
Did you see the original one? Because that's a Japanese
No, remake. I did not. Because when I watched the remake, I was so freaked out, I thought there's no way I'm watching the Japanese version.
Yeah.
It's probably even scarier.
Actually, I like the remake better.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, people are going to hate me for that. But I that's the thing in the horror community, people talking about hating remakes or sequels. I love them all.
Yeah.
I love them all. It doesn't bother me. But I like the remake better. Yeah, that was really scary.
Final question for you. What advice would you have to newbie filmmakers, independent filmmakers who are trying to get into the business?
Get out there and make something. Mm-hmm. Just get out there and make something. A lot of people I talk to will come to me and say, oh, I want to make this. I want to make this. And I say, do it. And they say, well, I don't know this and I don't know that. I didn't know anything. I still don't know anything.
Right.
I get out there and be like, try to make something.
Yeah.
And be open to criticism. If you make something, you put it out there, watch the reaction you're getting. If people are sitting in their chair and they're kind of looking around, and you're like, okay, well, I haven't captured them. Maybe I need to go and retweak this and just put it out there, watch the responses, practice. Yeah. Everything you put out. You might hate the first thing you ever made. Mulch was the first big thing I made. I'm still proud of it, but when I look at it, I see this little tiny T-Rex arm on a mannequin because we didn't have 2 arms, so the guy's arm is over here. But I just laugh at it because it's, because he still went out and did it.
Yeah.
So, get out there and do it. Just make it.
Great advice. Where can people follow you and learn about what you're up to these days?
I'm not on social media.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh man, that's a whole nother mess. But I'm on YouTube.
Okay.
They could look me up, Frank Popp Jr. on YouTube. Chainsaw Dinner Party is a page on YouTube I have of different horror stuff that I've made. Mulch, 37% Pure Evil. Yeah. And I used to do a podcast years ago called Blood, Guts, and Booze, where we sat and watched horror movies, drinking, and good trashy fun.
Kind of like a Bob and Doug McKenzie, but watching horror movies.
Kind of like Trailer Park Boys, but watching horror movies. So yeah, it's more that.
Okay.
So if you're not into that.
Yeah. That sounds like a blast.
It was fun.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, that's another edition of the Newsmakers Podcast. A huge thank you to the all-star cast behind the scenes. If you like today's episode, click the thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Catch the Newsmakers Podcast on chch.com/podcasts and wherever you get your favorite podcasts.